Okay, everyone, Coach Addae joins us next. We'll open it up to questions. First one is from Greg Hunter.
So, Jahmile, we've talked about this a little bit before, but your sample size is pretty big now. You were so young in the secondary coming into this year, but you're number one in the league in pass defense right now after 8 games. So what were your expectations? How have you gotten to this point? Did you think it would be this good?
Yeah, I tell you what, we like to think that we saw it coming, but I'd probably be lying if I said that. I know these kids have put in the work from day one, from the time that Jordan and I have taken over. And even before then, they were really a lunch pail type group where they come in, put in the hours, put in the effort, and so obviously the results show. For us, every week it's just been about being as sound as we can be and concentrating really on our job. We preach 111, which means each guy of the 11 do your job, and everything should work out in the way in which you want it. And the kids have done, or the guys have done a hell of a job doing that this year up until now. And so there's no way to necessarily beat my chest and say that I'm responsible for that. I think it's more so just a group effort. I think also it's no secret that we've got a hell of a defensive line, and they put pressure on that quarterback like nobody else's business. And I think a lot of times, not necessarily does it go unseen, but it's not factored in the final equation. And those guys have done a heck of a job all season, really getting in the face of the quarterback and making things happen, maybe earlier or sooner than the quarterback wants it to happen, which allows us as a defensive back end to close and make plays on the football. And so, a combination of both those things, both us being sound on the back end and getting after the quarterback, lends to probably pretty good statistics. But at the end of the day, we're looking for wins, no losses. And so that's the goal this week, as it is every week.
Go ahead, Cody Nesper.
Hey, Jahmile. Against a back like Breece Hall, how important is it to avoid situations where it's on your defensive backs to try and tackle him?
Almost impossible to do so. You'd like to avoid all situations where anyone has to tackle this dude. He can play football, man. He can really run the ball. But for us, that's week in and week out. Everybody wants to get the football on to a DB, a corner, a safety, and force them to tackle. And our guys understand the issues there. They understand the challenge that presents, and their job is to stand tall in the paint and get the ball down when they need to. And again, this week no different than any other week, in that they're going to be asked to do so. The difference is that this kid is really, really elite, and so we've got to be just that much better.
Coach, a question to us submitted by Bob Herzl. Can you sense a certain pride or belief in this defense that has kind of grown throughout the year, especially with all the challenges that they came in with in August?
Yeah, you can see over the season that they've gotten some probably gained a bit of confidence as they went, and rightfully so. Anytime you have success at any rate, it allows you to feel more comfortable about what you're doing. And so I would say that the defense, as the year has gone on, is coming to their own and really feel good about what they're doing. I think for us as coaches, our job is to simplify things and allow them to feel comfortable in the game plan. And then once they put in the work physically, you match the game plan along with the physical preparation. Again, usually there's a pretty good product. And up until now, we've been able to do so.
Go ahead, Greg.
So, Jahmile, back in your playing days, tight ends seem to be sort of on their way out. Obviously, everybody's starting to use them again, and looks like Iowa State uses them about as much as anyone. So how much of a challenge is it? Why are tight ends all of a sudden back in vogue when they seemingly weren't a decade ago?
Yeah. I don't want to speak for Iowa State. I will say that they've got 3 really talented ones, and so as coaches, our jobs is to really use what we have, make the best of it, put our guys in position to make plays, and I think their coaching staff has done a heck of a job at doing so. They probably looked at their personnel, see that they've got 3 guys that are all worthy of playing time at the tight end position, and so they come out with an offensive scheme that features that, and have been really successful with doing so. It creates issues in terms of matchups. It creates issues in terms of calling the game against it, and so it does present a lot of problems. And when you've got 3 really elite ones sitting in your room, it's hard not to utilize that. And so hats off to those guys. They've done a nice job spotlighting that and using that type of offense, where, as you said, in this day and age is ancient. The other thing is just the preparation week in and week out. You're seeing all the 10 and 11 personnel formation type teams. And so where it used to be a common thing to see heavy personnel, you no longer see it. So it's also different in terms of preparation because you don't see it as much throughout your season. So it's almost a one-off in a sense. But we're ready for challenge, and the Mountaineers will show up.
Cody?
Sticking with the tight ends, how do you coach for coverage to go up against guys that are just, bigger than your guys, several inches taller?
Win and win early and don't get caught behind them. You've got to do a nice job of really just being physical, putting guys underneath and on top of them, and then just challenging the route. I think at the end of the day, it's going to be all about the competitive spirit at the end of the route, finishing the play. Not necessarily what gets you there, but the getting the ball out or making a play on the ball. That's key when you're playing a bigger type unit. And these guys, all three of them, are lengthy, big, have the ability to locate, catch the ball in the air. And that's why they are what they have been this year. They've been really damn good. And we're going to have to face the same challenge that every other team in the conference has, which is to try to go up and make plays on those guys.
Okay, Mike, you're next.
I think you might have actually answered. I was going to ask you specifically about probably safeties in particular, defending those seam routes, but
right.
I think what you just said pretty much covers that, huh?
Basically. Without going into too much detail for you, brother, I think that
No, never. I get you.